Another issue, which I know your program includes, and I think maybe just would be beneficial, which you don't have to explain it here because I know it's part of your program, but maybe let the moms know that there is a solution is to, and obviously I don't know these issues, but there are some things you were talking about with pelvic floor, with even with like C sections and abdominals. Touch on that, and maybe if you can give some confidence that there is a solution for some of these women who think that their situation will always be that way.
Right. So a lot of moms, and even the ones that come to me when their babies are 9 years old, have their core is always their Achilles heel. It's the part that just overwhelms them. They can't get it strong. They can't get it flat. They can't get their six pack back, or maybe they never had a six pack, but they're looking to get that core just a little bit flatter and tighter and stronger. So part of my program is because it's specifically for postpartum moms, we talk a ton about core stuff, and the most important thing that you can do, and you can actually start this right after you have your baby, before you even have your doctor's permission to work out. There's some things you can do.
Sorry, keep going.
I thought that was my phone. There's some things you can do related to your core and your pelvic floor, and you can start them right away, right out of the gates. And so it's things like doing your Kegels and starting to do some contractions with your core. There's little exercises called zippers and elevators and things like that, where you're starting to get those muscles engaged, because as soon as you get permission from your doctor to exercise, if your pelvic floor is strong and your core is strong or has started to re-strengthen, then there's so much more you can do exercise-wise. What happens with a lot of moms is they don't take any time to strengthen their core and recondition their pelvic floor, and then they try to jump back into an exercise routine anywhere from like 6 months to 6 years after having a child, and they have all sorts of issues in terms of their back being problematic, their core creating different sorts of issues and problems and exercises that they can't do because their core is weak. Peeing their pants. I get moms in boot camp all the time that say, I can't do anything with jumping because I start to pee my pants and it's really embarrassing, and which is completely normal, but it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, after you have a baby, things are like all out of whack, and the peeing your pants thing, it's not abnormal, but there's a lot you can do to recondition that pelvic floor so that you don't have that sensation, and then you can work out at a totally different level in a different way that's much more powerful and much more effective than if you were stuck doing some exercises that you would have to do if your pelvic floor was totally deconditioned still, if your core was deconditioned and weak. So that's a lot of what my program addresses, is getting, get the pelvic floor back, get your core back, and then here's the exact exercises and workouts that you can do from there to lose this baby weight, and then the eating and nutrition plan that follows along with that as well.
And that's great information. I'm glad you covered it, because it's not something that I'm able to confidently talk to my boot campers about. So, but I'm glad there definitely is a way. And I know, and I hear the same thing too about not being able to jump or, so, and I don't hear as much of it, obviously, because I'm sure that my clients get embarrassed, and I would get embarrassed for them. I don't want them to be uncomfortable, but I'm glad, and, I'll be looking into your program to be able to incorporate, well, maybe just pass it on to them so they can incorporate some of those exercises so that they can work out much harder.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, this is, such great information. I'm so thankful that you were able to get on this call from me. And, as we get into the close of this conversation, what are 3 or 4 things that moms watching this can take away and apply into their lives right away today so they can start taking bigger steps into the body that they want to reclaim?
Sure. That's a great question, a question that I get a lot. And I love this question because there are things you can do immediately. You don't need to wait for next Monday. You don't need to wait for next month or New Year's. So a handful of things you can do. The first thing I always tell moms, and I think this is the most important part of weight loss and having the body that you want, is having a clean diet. And that doesn't mean that you're never going to eat the things you love again. And it doesn't even mean you can't have things you like this week. It just means that for the most part, you're following the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time, you're eating really well, really clean, healthy foods, healthy portions, because if you're eating a ton of healthy foods with huge portions, that's still excessive calories. So, and then 20% of the time, let yourself indulge. Let yourself, have chocolate cake if you want it. Have the pasta, have wine, whatever makes you excited to eat and be alive. And those are important things. And I think it's really important that you have something to look forward to in your week. So when you're thinking of that 80-20 rule, also be very aware that 20% of the time is only about 2 meals a week. It's not 2 days a week. It's not the whole weekend. And I think that's a big mistake. And people, I talk about the weekend cycle, and people that take the whole weekend off from quote unquote dieting and then start fresh on Monday every week, inevitably you either stay at the same place you're at or you gain weight over time. You do not lose weight by being good Monday through Friday and then cheating Friday through Sunday. So the 80-20 rule is imperative. The next thing I talk about is working out hard. So it's not about working out longer. It's not even about working out more days a week necessarily. It's about whenever you do dedicate time to exercise, make sure that it's at a challenging intensity. And like I said earlier, that means a lot of different things for a lot of different people, but it should be challenging for you. So even if it's just 15 minutes, it should be 15 minutes of, oh my gosh, I really just worked. You should feel sweaty. It shouldn't be like a casual walk. It should be really noticeable that like I just really pushed myself. Next, I talk about water. Water is like, if there's anything close to a magic pill for dieting, I think it's water. And I know this can be a struggle for a lot of people, but water keeps you full. Water helps stimulate your metabolism. If you're dehydrated, your metabolism starts to slow down. Being hydrated and keeping water on board can help curb cravings. It can help, I mean, if you're going to be feeding your child and tempted to eat off their plate, if you pound a huge glass of water before you feed your child, you're probably not going to be as tempted to eat off their plate. So there's so many ways to use water. And I know it sounds boring to some people, but it makes a huge difference. In addition, it really, really pushes off, you slough off that water weight. And so the biggest thing in my weight loss programs and my online program here is that moms who don't drink water, that's when their weight loss really plateaus and really becomes stagnant. And my program that I have online is 6 weeks. And a lot of times, like around week 4, moms kind of slack off on the water. And that's when the scale just stops moving. So even if people do nothing else, sometimes just adding enough water in 1 week will make a difference on the scale. And I always recommend 1 ounce of water for every 2 pounds of body weight. So if you're 150 pounds, that would be 75 ounces of water per day, not per week, per day. And you can add orange slices or cucumbers or lemon slices or lime. You can add stuff to your water to enhance the flavor if you want. The last thing I tell moms when it comes to weight loss is that it has to be part of your mindset. And it has to be you have to kind of adopt it as part of who you are in terms of living a healthy lifestyle. And I tell people all the time that my name is Sara Dean and I work out 6 days a week. Every single week. It's not negotiable. It's not questionable. You don't have to work out 6 days a week, but that's what I do and that's part of who I am. And so you have to start thinking about, my name is Jane and I eat clean 80% of the time. And my name is Amanda and I drink my water every day. And it has to just be like as common as your middle name is to you. It has to be a part of what you do, who you are, and then it becomes part of how you see yourself. And so it's not something, that makes it more of a lifestyle change rather than looking at it as this temporary kind of dieting thing. Because I'm not a big fan of looking at temporary fixes or quick fixes or even using the word diet. And along with mindset is that you have to have a starting point, and you can't make any change without a starting point. So it doesn't matter if your starting point is on a Monday or in 5 minutes from now, or, right this minute, if you're making a meal, you can change what you're eating, or take something off your plate, but you have to have a starting point. You have to have a point where you say to yourself, okay, now I'm doing this. And I think that with moms, because you have so much going on, it's really easy to just constantly push that starting point out. And I can't say enough for just having that designated, this is my start time. And because like my program, for example, online is 6 weeks. So having that definitive end time is really good too. That doesn't mean that you're going to abandon everything you did for that 6 weeks, but at least you know that I just have to start and see and try this and practice this. I talk about practicing. So you're just practicing new habits for this set amount of time. And that can really be the beginning of a shift. And then from there, it becomes part of who you are and how you see yourself and how other people see you, which is a big part of the picture. So those would be my handful of items.
And those are excellent. And again, thank you so much. I mean, I know for myself, I learned a ton from this conversation alone. And so I know all the viewers are going to learn a lot and take a lot from this also. So thank you very much again. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to mention, I wanted to mention, if you wanted further information, just on anything I spoke about, you can follow my blog at fithealthymoms.com, or my 6-week program for moms is called 6-Week Pregnancy Weight Loss, and you can find that at 6weekpregnancyweightloss.com. So,
and I will put a link below this, so
tools there.
Yeah, they can find this. And the very last thing you had said about your identity and who you are, about making that what you want it to be, and I think the name of your blog, Fit Healthy Moms, is great. I'm like I said, Jane, and I'm a fit, healthy mom. And that's where you start. You take up that mindset, that mentality, and everything else, you begin to act like that's what you are, and you'll achieve your goals.
Absolutely. Definitely.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to our next video on a couple of different topics we talked about in this video that can be topics of their own. But thanks again. We'll talk to you soon. If you want, pick up Sarah's program. I definitely recommend it. And I will put a link underneath on this video. And if you can mention where they can find your program at, again, one more time.
6weekpregnancyweightloss.com.
Easy enough. Perfect. All right, Sarah, take care. I will talk to you soon.
Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, take care.
Bye.